Thank you, Ms. Henson. And I'll recognize Ms. Torres for any questions she may have.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Commissioner, for being here. Former President Trump's 2017 tax scam was the biggest tax increase to middle-class property owners through the use of SALT. How SALT worked for folks that may not know how it worked. Property owners agreed to tax themselves or to pay for public bonds to build libraries, police stations, maybe a bridge, and local infrastructure. And in exchange, they would be able to use that money and to take a deduction on their taxes based on that. It has had a significant impact on California property owners. It has had a significant impact on property owners in states where this was practiced. It was not a free gift to those property owners. It was an investment that they made in the communities. Most of those communities, the federal government has failed to provide proper funding for housing and for all of those things that they chose to tax themselves on. I'm interested in hearing what you are hearing from our taxpayers, how they have been impacted by this, and is there anything that you can help with to alleviate SALT?
So the role that I have as IRS Commissioner is to make sure that I understand what the experienced taxpayers are having with the law on the books, in terms of getting the questions answered from the IRS, getting the forms they need.
Part of that experience includes how they are experiencing changes in laws, and that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, and that is actually something that's more in Secretary Yellen and her team's wheelhouse.
Okay.
So any concern, the concern that Congressman Molinar raised on the clean vehicle credit and these concerns, I will bring back to the Treasury Department and make sure that we provide fulsome answers.
So let me go to the IRS audit of the working poor.
Yes.
Which has been covered by so many of my colleagues already. It is really unsettling to see the audit numbers, and I know that you have stated here that you are working to improve those numbers. So how is that going to be a realistic approach that my community, who is often first on the block, priority? I want to make sure that you're focusing on tax cheats and that you're not focusing on the people that are doing everything that they can to pay their taxes.
Yeah. When I arrived in the IRS in March of 23, we began as a team to look at the audit rates, in particular in low-income communities. There is a lot of inequity that has existed in terms of how audits are decided upon, and we are working to both acknowledge that inequity and change it. So
and part of that involves ensuring that you have a diverse workforce.
Yes.
So that they are, have some cultural competency and income competency, and that are not simply going after the lowest, the easy picking.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we have in response to these concerns, on these equity concerns, have worked with groups that are involved in these equity issues, external stakeholders. Treasury has committees. We have committees. We've created separate working groups just to look at equity issues in tax administration. And we've already taken steps. For example, I've announced a dramatic reduction in the number of audits related to the earned income tax credit because we believe that that will do two things: address inequity by substantially reducing the volume of those audits, but actually put that audit resource to better use and move it to areas of the tax gap that are more concerning.
Let me go to another issue that is critically important, and that is nonprofit tax compliance with nonprofit agencies. I have seen in my own home city, Pomona, the Fairplex abuse of its tax-exempt status. The report by the California State Auditor revealed that the executive director or the three top executives were making over $10 million a year. At that time, I had requested an audit from the IRS. You did your due diligence instead of, giving them, a large fine. You forced them to make some changes. How are we making sure now that nonprofit agencies are exercising some, good models in how they pay their executive team versus the services that they are providing in the community?
Yeah, and obviously, without commenting on any specific case, we take our review of exempt organizations very seriously. Over the last 15 years, I would say, dating back to, the last 10 or 11 years, there have been significant efforts to increase the robustness, the transparency of our approach. We've had our Inspector General, the TIGTA, review our approach on review of exempt organizations, and for the most part, we've gotten good and passing grades from them. That doesn't mean the work is done. We have the ability to continue to understand from congresspeople like you and others, where are there activities going on in our EO review process that are leading to bad results. Either someone is not found to be exempt that should have been, or someone is found to be exempt that should not be exempt, and ongoing activities. And we're open to that feedback.
My time has expired, and I'd love to continue this conversation with you at another time. I apologize to you.
No problem, Ms.